Yo, guys. Wait a minute, Yo, guys, my fault, man. I didn't know if I was in the screen or not, man. Thank you guys for showing up to the show. Let me start off by saying Aldo is doing his show. The guy I used to rock with over there on the bar, and I still rock with him. But sometimes, every now and again, you come across situations where sometimes when you have to go live, you got to go live. And I'm not trying to step on Aldo's toes. I still respect the hell out of Aldo. But timing is important when you're doing these network shows, man. And sometimes you got to get in when you can get in. And this is just one of those times when it wasn't no getting around it. We need to put together a show. And so I was glad when Samo called me or texted me and asked me if I wanted to do a show. And I was just like, yes, perfect timing. Because I got a lot to talk about. And I know he's got a lot to talk about. And you know what? Without further ado, man, Samo, what's on your mind, man? What was your experience like down there in Tampa? I know you didn't get to watch you didn't get to be a part of the Nomad at Night post game, so I know you got a bunch on your mind, man. What's up?
What's up? What's up?
You're on
What's
mute,
up?
Sam.
All the no maniacs. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you good.
All right.
So
what's up, no
Sam,
maniacs? All right.
You good, Sam?
You
good. Go ahead.
I think we're good now. All right. Shout out to everybody in the chat. What's up, my guy J2K, Brian Hendren, Jason Jones, new guy. I haven't seen you. Welcome. Joseph Matusak. Just shout everybody out. Rich Boy, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Bink the DJ. Plank, what's up? I see you guys. Shout out to all you guys. Glad to be back. Glad to chop it up with you guys. Cornelia Squalls, all the faithful in here. Matt Nagy, I see you, dog. Where goes one? Hey, just wanted to, chop it up with everybody. I didn't get a chance to do the post-game show. Terrain, what's happening, big dog? James Ford, Sun Taurus 9. Hey, I just didn't get a chance to do the post-game because I was traveling on my way back here to Chicago after, suffering that terrible loss in Tampa Bay with those guys. So I just wanted to chop it up with everyone, man, and tell everyone about my experience down there and just the way I'm feeling right now.
Yeah, it was hard. It was hard, but man, listen, what bothers me, man, and it's basic. It says everything in the title of the show. The title of the show says Flus asks us for our support. And I'm just saying this on behalf of the Nomad Network. We're gonna stay down, all 10 toes down, man. He will have our support here at the Nomad Network. And I think this conversation for me, from my perspective, is about having a candid conversation with some of the fan base about, to me, how best to be a fan in a moment like this. You could be easily one of those that follows the herd off a cliff. And somebody actually said something earlier in the chat, said that in 2006 we started 1-3. How did that season turn out? I mean, we jump to conclusions far too often. And I made a funny little statement on Twitter today, Samuel. I said, hey, look, at this point, after 2 games, we done already fired the coach. We done already fired the GM and then sold the team to some hillbilly named Merle in Arkansas by this point. I mean, they just don't. People jump to conclusions, man, and it's unnecessary. It's like, guys, calm down, man. That's why we can't really keep anything of substance here in Chicago. I think partly is because of the fan base. It lacks patience, man. You gotta fall back and know your role, man. Just give these guys. I believe we have the right coach and GM. I think we just need to give these guys a chance to operate. What do I think about the coordinators that they have? Those choices, they're questionable. I will admit that. Is Justin's play worthy of scrutiny? Yes, it is. We'll get into all of that today too. So we're not going to absolve him of any blame here. I'm just saying, you guys, in totality, we need to know our role as fans. We can either boost these guys or we can flush them down the toilet. One of the two, man. What choice? The choices are yours. How do you want to go about this, Sam? I'm gonna get carried away, man.
Yeah.
We don't stop.
Nah, man, you're right. Patience, man. I think patience is the virtue that we all need to have right now, man, because we've seen, man, we've jumped from ship to ship to ship. And every time we jump ship, we set ourselves back, and then it just creates another troubled situation, man, because someone's going to come in and they're going to try to reset everything, and they're going to want to bring in their own players, their own coaches. So let's not just, throw ball up the paper and throw it all away. Like, man, we have a lot to work with here, guys. We have a lot to work with. And I've seen it firsthand, man. Now, am I ready to say that everything is fine and dandy? No, man. I saw a lot of things while I was down there that were just disturbing to me. But I also know that it can all be corrected, and that we just have to have patience. And we have the people in the building who are who I do have the confidence in to, right the ship, but they just have to, let go of their egos. And, if someone has to move on because they don't want to let go of their egos, then, hey, that's what's going to happen. But as far as Coach Flus, I believe in Coach Flus, and I believe in our GM, Ryan Pose. Let me just talk about my experience real quick down there, man. So first of all, guys, in Tampa Bay, it is the hottest I've ever been in my life. And that's no lie. I just left Mexico in, August during the hurricane or whatever. And it was hot there. But the heat in Tampa Bay is different. I was sitting there the first half of the game, and I was just dying, sweating, and just, man, it's just like everything was sweated out of me, man. To the point where I couldn't sweat anymore. Then I stood up, felt lightheaded. I can't imagine what the guys on the field were going through. So first of all, that was a challenge. That's a hump to get over, especially if that's not something you deal with on a day-to-day basis, So I think that our players, for the most part, were able to deal with it. But I saw when who was it? Brisker went out of the game for a while. They said he had some heat-related issues. And I saw guys on the sideline, who were just seemed like they were going through it as well. So that heat is nothing to mess with. I'm telling you guys, believe me when I say. And to see those guys finish that game up and us not really get anyone hurt because of the heat, I was happy to see that. And then the experience in that stadium is just Raymond James. They have to do better. The Buccaneers have to do better at doing something to help their fans, because not only was I dealing with the heat, I saw Buccaneers fans and everyone was we're standing in stairwells trying to get away from the sun, and there's no relief anywhere in the stadium. They don't have any cooling stations. You have to find a spot where you can get a little faint breeze coming through the stairwell, and then they don't want anyone standing or sitting on a stairwell. So it was just hard to deal with, man. Raymond James, Buccaneers, you guys got to do better. Do better for your fans if you're not going to do better by us, people who are coming in visiting. As far as the game goes, man, what's that?
Oh, Sam, let me jump in there, because it's funny you talking about the heat down there. I went down there when I was probably about, 14 or 15 years old. My aunt and her kids, and actually two of my aunts, was down there in Fort Myers. And I got to go down there for a couple months, man. It was probably about, between July and August or something like that. And we went down there, man. That's some different heat down there. And one time we was out there playing sandlot football, man. And, man, I was having a good time out there. We getting it, man. It's burning up out there. When I say it's burning up, it was right after it rained. Down there, it rains hard, man. It rains hard. You be like, ain't no way we going to be able to play no football. But then the heat just sucks it right on up, just sucks it up. And so here we are in the middle of the day out there playing football, and we out there going. And next thing you know, I'm starting to get a little lightheaded. You know what I mean? I'm seeing the lights is blinking, but I'm into the game, man. I don't want to sit down. I don't want to. Next thing you know, last thing I can remember was chasing a dude. Next thing I remember is me up under a palm tree with 15 dudes. It was like
waving on you. Waving on you. Come, wake up, big dog. Wake up.
I I heard one of them say, "Oh, he must be from up north or something." Like, that's a different heat, man. It's like, man, you gotta take it easy down here. You ain't used to the heat. We used to it, so I had to jump in there and tell you that story.
Man, I can't even imagine what July and August feels like out there. It's probably so much worse, man. It was just hot, and it was just no escaping the heat. There was no escaping it at all. I mean, I was pouring water on me. I'm buying $4 waters just to pour on my head and down my neck and down my shirt. We pouring water on each other, trying to, stay cool some way.
But they have none of those misters out there, nothing like the mists.
Nah, I should have bought one of those misters, and I was thinking like they would have something like that for sale even at the stadium, because I didn't get one before I entered the stadium. They don't even have that for sale. Like, I don't know, like the Buccaneers need to do better, man. Simple as that. Like, I mean, you guys could have fans outside in the concourse that are blowing some mist or something. Like, you could do something, because it's just so unbearable, man. And it wasn't just, us Northerners that were dealing with it. I saw a lot of Buccaneers fans that were also, slumped over, and people, I saw a lot of medical attention being given to a lot of different people in that stadium. So, but hey,
I told you before you went in there, I told you you were gonna pay for that dark blue shirt, didn't you?
Man, and I did.
You'll find out as you get older. Like I found out, the best seat in the house is your house.
You're right.
The experience is beautiful, but man, ain't nothing like being at home in your drawers watching the game.
Nothing like it. Waking up, brushing your teeth, washing your face, and sitting on there.
That's it.
And nothing like it. Yeah, I have found a whole new appreciation for that there.
I've spent some time in Florida in the summer, and believe me, I know what that heat. I mean, Southern Florida, Fort Lauderdale, and I know that's why ain't nobody there in the summer. Everybody goes down there in the winter. But I enjoyed myself. But believe me, I found out what Florida heat was in the summer, and it ain't no joke.
Mm-hmm. Then happened to walk back to the car, man. I just felt like I didn't think I was gonna make it. I ain't gonna lie, I thought I was gonna pass out, man. I didn't think I was gonna make it. Then I get to the car, the seats are burning up hot because I left the little moonroof open. As soon as I sit down, shit, it was just bad. It was just bad. The air conditioning was not cold. I'm like, well, let me drive. Let me just start driving. I'm driving. It's still not cold. I didn't find any relief until I went into a 7-Eleven to get some Gatorade. I'm like, I got to get a Gatorade. And it was pretty cool in there. So I stood there and talked to one of the cashiers. Shout out to Mike at the 7-Eleven. Good young guy, man. We chopped it up talking about ball. But, man, it's bad, though. I wouldn't. That's not a trip I would do again.
Man, when you were walking into the game and you just kept walking and walking, and you was like, when is he? I was hurting for you. I was like, when is he gonna get there? My back was hurting watching you.
Hey, I must not have realized how far I had parked away because I was on the phone with you all. And as I'm walking back, I'm talking to my girl. I'm like, man, we parked this far away. I was like, I just didn't realize it because I was, on the podcast. But man.
My daughter bought me tickets to the Miami-Chicago game last year for my 60th birthday.
Chris, how long was pregame? Because you was walking the whole pregame.
Oh, he was. He just kept walking. I thought, did he park? He parked in the church across the street.
Yeah, and I parked in the lot that was too expensive, $50 for parking. Just so I can get close, so that I can, get a jump on the podcast with you all. I'm like, man. But I'm so glad I didn't take the $20 parking, because I definitely wouldn't have made it, because that was much further away.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was saying, my daughter bought me tickets to the Miami game last year for my birthday.
Man.
And she was going to surprise me. And when she told me, my heart dropped. Because, I got a bad back. I got, spinal stenosis. And I thought, there's no way. I love her to this day for it, but there was no way that I was gonna be able to make that walk, man.
So, and then you walking a whole time you're inside of there. It's just bad.
I know.
Man.
And I got her money back for the tickets, almost $1,000. She was mad, didn't give me a dime of it. I was like, dang, I didn't get nothing for my birthday.
You say you didn't want it. She did you like you were one of
That
her
exactly.
boyfriends. Huh?
That was hey, her mom. The spirit of her mom came out.
Hey, so Samuel, I wanted to ask you, man. I can remember. I'm thinking back on the game right now. I can remember that first drive and how good it looked and how loose Justin looked in that first drive. And all of a sudden, I remember that second drive. It's like what happened? Like it's like they put the clamps on him and we went back to the screen game type of thing. And it's just, I was just like, oh man, what the hell is going on? Tell me what you were thinking in the stadium as you were watching that.
Man, so that first drive, man, us as Bears fans, we were just ecstatic. You know, they moved the ball downfield. First of all, you know, we talked in the pregame and I said, I want them to come out aggressive. And that's exactly what they did. They came out, you know, Justin fires to DJ Moore on the first play. You know, I'm like, okay. Then, you know, Justin keeps firing all the way downfield into a touchdown, man, until we get this touchdown, right? If it touchdown happens right in front of me, I go, I'm high-fiving all the Bears fans. And BCP's very own was there, Shorty, Dan Shorty. Dan Shorty was sitting right in front of me, and we looking at each other. I'm like, hold on, is that Dan? He's looking like, Samuel? We was like, hey. So we thought that was going to be good juju. We thought that meant we were going to win this game. I'm just so happy now. You're like, we're up 7-3. I'm like, it's on. Like, this is we're riding the ship today. Then the next drive happens, and we revert back to this crazy offense and not stick with what just worked. We just worked these guys down the field, and then we go back to this short screen game, and you know, and changing up what we were doing. We didn't get as aggressive as we were, and then that happened consistently throughout the game too, Nomad. And it was frustrating because we would have good power runs with Roshan.
Right.
And then we didn't. He breaks off a nice big long run, and then I don't see him again. I'm like, what is going on? Like we keep seeing, you know, big plays being made, and then we don't see him again. Then we keep getting caught up in these third and long situations, and then we're very conservative trying to get out of those situations, which was just crazy to me. Like we want to throw a screen game on a screen on third and long. Like, come on, man, let's just push the ball down the field. We saw Justin just do it. You know, have some faith in the young man. Like, give him the opportunity to learn this way. Now, I'm not going to, you know, say that Justin played a great game because he didn't, but I can see, like, I think they're ruining him, man. I've seen it. I see the frustration in his face when he gets to the sideline, and I see him just thinking. He's just sitting there, man. He's just over-processing, thinking, second-guessing himself. Like live, you can see that in him. Like, man, you see guys sitting there clapping in front of him, like, hey, I'm open, I'm right here. But he's so focused on trying to hit all the coaching points and trying to execute exactly what Luke Getsy wants him to execute. And man, that's not the way you're gonna play. That's not the way we're gonna win games, man. First of all, like I'm not even sure if Luke Getsy knows what he has in Justin Fields, man. He's trying to fit Justin Fields into, you know, his round hole, and he's trying to mold Justin Fields into this ball of clay to fit into his hole. But I don't know if Justin is, you know, the right person to fit into what he's doing. Like, I think the best coordinators know how to, you know, work with the talent that you have and, you know, understand what your guy does well. And then you sprinkle in some of what you want to do. Like, man, but first of all, we're going to accentuate your talents. We're not going to, and that goes for everybody on the offense. Like, stop asking Chase Claypool to block downfield, man. Like, that guy, like, he can do it every now and then. Like, on that Roshan Johnson run, like, he had some nice blocks.
Yeah, he
kicked out. He had some really nice blocks on that play. But then there's another play, like, where on Justin Fields' touchdown, where he kind of whiffs on that block. But, you know, Justin had the speed to get to the outside. But I'm just saying, like, I don't think that's his game, man. That's not what he does. Like, he gave effort, but, you know, it's just not always going to be perfect. So stop asking him to do that, man. Let's find another blocking scheme to block that up that doesn't include Chase Claypool, man, because it's frustrating for him. It's frustrating for us as fans to watch it. And, hey, if you see that something's not working for someone, then, you know, move on and find another play. And I think that's my frustration with, you know, Luke Getsy right now. Like, he's frustrating me, man. And then to hear Tim Jennings talk about it today, just kind of, reinforce what I was already thinking, man. Like, that this is just not the offense that we should be running with Justin Fields, and they broke him. They broke him. Them trying to fit him into their system as opposed to going back and looking at Ohio State film and looking at last year's film and saying, look, this is what he does great. We're going to stick with this until someone stops it. And I keep hearing people say, well, defenses are going to figure that out and they're going to stop them. Let's see it. Right. When they stop them, then that's when you pivot. That's when you start pivoting. You can pivot in the middle of the game and say, hey, all right, we're going to sprinkle in some of this. But there's certain things you don't do, man. Just like I know I was frustrated with the interception from Justin Fields at the end of the game when I just knew we were about to come back and win that game. I just knew it in my heart. I just felt it. I was like, man, it was worth it staying here, because at one point I was ready to leave.
It says something that we still had a chance to win it. So, I mean, if you look at that, there is some, positive in just the fact that we still had a chance to win the game. But, it didn't work out that way. But, Sam, let me ask you this. Does this not kind of remind you of the same pattern we went through last year?
Exact same.
I mean, they just couldn't. It's like they didn't know what to do with him. And it took up till the New England game to kind of take the rein, the chains and the reins off this kid and let him do, kind of become, I don't want to say gunslinger, but just take the chains off of him and get him out of that quit trying to force the square into the round hole.
You got to stop doing that. Like, it just makes no sense. And it's going to get you fired. That's what it's going to lead to. Luke Getsy. It's going to get either Luke Getsy fired or him, or it's going to end up getting the head coach fired, and Matt Eberflus. And I don't want to see either one of those guys go. I think they both, have it in them, because I've seen Luke Getsy pivot last year and, create an offense around Justin Fields where we were able to be productive with less. I've seen him do it with less. We have so many weapons this year. Like, I think, Ryan Poles did a great job this offseason, man, at assembling a good offense for arsenal of receivers and a good offense around Justin Fields. Our offensive line is much better than anyone thinks. I think they just need some more time, in continuity. It's hard when you have guys moving in and out at different positions, but individually, those guys play really well, especially on the ends at tackle. Our interior guys, have some things to work out, but those guys are balling on the outside, guys. I'm telling you, like, they're holding their own. And I don't know, for whatever reason, Luke Getsy is leaving those guys out there on that island on their own. And for the most part, they've held up for the last two games. And I challenge anyone to go look at the video, go and check those guys out. But that interior offensive line, it's still a little shaky, and that's because there's so many moving parts. What are you gonna say, Nomad?
No, I'm letting you get yours in, man, because I know you got a lot to say. But I do want to say this. But I'm gonna make this statement, and then I'm gonna go back to something I saw yesterday. I got to watch the game late at night. But that first drive that you saw, that scripted drive that you saw, Justin, that's always a
scripted.
That was he knew exactly what he was gonna see. He knew exactly what to expect, and he was able to go out there and play pretty freely, and he moved that ball down the field, touchdown. And the last scoring drive, when he didn't have to think. He ran sugar huddles, and he was kind of in a hurry-up offense, kind of how Tom Brady made his living in the league. The defense didn't have time to really get set up and kind of scheme up how to get after him or nothing. He was just tearing them apart. That's Justin Fields. That's Justin Fields. That's when Justin Fields is at his best. He didn't have time to think about all the, the 5 progressions, all the quarterback gurus want people to, man, you don't have time for all that. And I'm going to tell you, if you watched that Cleveland game last night, that Cleveland and Pittsburgh game last night, and you saw how aggressive defenses were and how fast they, man, it's 1 or 2 reads and get your ass up out of there. You better run for your damn life. And that's how fast you got to get it going. And so all that crap, they thinking the way they describe quarterback play and all these gurus who making these videos, they're thinking about your traditional quarterback and how much time your traditional quarterback had to throw a ball. They're not considering the time we living in. This is 2023, man. These defenses coming, man. They coming fast. And so you ain't got time like that, man, to be sitting back there going through 4 and 5 progressions. You got to script it up in a way that the guy that you have playing quarterback can really use his assets. If that means getting him out of containment, breaking the pocket and moving him left, moving him right, then that's what the hell you better do, because that's when he's at his best. That's the best chance you got. Either that or get him right under center, do a play action and start attacking with some of these deep targets that we have, which I still have not I have not seen that thus far.
Have you seen him be under center at all?
The first drive of the game, he was under center. He got under center for a little bit, man, and that's when he's at his best, man. Yeah. When he's under center, he's able to drop back, hit on that back foot, and he knows what he's looking at, and then he can, run the play action off of that. And like Nomad said, man, why don't we move the pocket? We haven't moved the pocket all year. I haven't seen that pocket move all year.
And that's
like they were teeing off. They know where you're going to stand. If I know where you're going to be as a defensive lineman, if I know like they're not going to move this pocket, I'm coming.
Pin your ears back.
On third and long, I'm coming. I'm going to get home. Get home.
That helps the offensive line and thus helps Justin. So, and I mean, I think we gotta remember, Getsy's a first-time offensive coordinator. A lot of people act like he was the OC in Green Bay, and he was not. He was just a passing game coordinator. Basically Aaron Rodgers' caddy. So, you know what? So he's coaching like he's coaching scared. And so coaching safe, and coaching scared and safe is the sure way to get fired.
Chris, I heard I've seen the best statement I've heard in regards to the situation we are in with Justin, coming from a defensive guru who I really respect, Rex Ryan. He said, basically, I'm a misquoting him, but I'm gonna do my best. He said the defenses are saying thank you for them not moving the pocket and getting him out and using his legs. Yep. That's you giving the defense a break. You got this stud athlete that can really throw a ball at the same time, and you're not using his athletic ability to really threaten the defense. That just, like Samo said, that just gives the defense, we know they're trying to teach him to be a pocket QB, so just pin your ears back and go get him.
Yeah.
And they definitely have coached the running out of him or something, man, because there were opportunities for him to, if you're not going to throw the ball down the field, like just get out, get out of the pocket and run and go get some positive yardage, on those opportunities, like he still just sat there, man. And sometimes the one time when he ran directly into the middle of the defensive lineman and just it's like giving up. Like at that point, I felt like he just gave up because he wasn't under pressure. He was just sitting back there reading and waiting to find someone open, and there were people open at that point in time, and then he just decided to take off up the middle into a sea of defensive linemen where, they were being blocked up, and I think his linemen, our offensive linemen, were a little confused by that and thinking, like, what's going on? Like, why did you even do that? Like, we had this. We had you, dog. We had you. I don't know if it's a PTSD. I know that's a real thing because
it's a real thing, man.
It is, man. It's like you can't, like you would tell a woman that's been beat and cut up and done all kinds of things done to her, put her in a room full of offenders and tell her ain't nobody gonna beat you and cut you up. Okay, I'm gonna trust you, but in the back of my head, I'm thinking I'm gonna get beat and cut up.
I said that ever since the Cleveland game last year, man. It reminded me so much of Cutler on Sunday night against the Giants in 2010. I mean, they had 8 sacks in the first half.
First half, yeah, I remember that.
First half, man, and I thought that dude, they're gonna kill that dude. Yep. And it's like he was never the same after that. I mean, he really, he had a tendency to throw high all the time anyway. And he'd throw high, he'd miss high all the time, trying to get the ball out of there. And they're doing the same thing to him, man. And I don't know if it's, if he's at the point where it's irreversible, but you got a legitimate Lamar Jackson clone. Do what Baltimore's doing. Use it to your advantage, but they're coaching. And Eberflus has got to step up and say, look, man, do something different. And I don't want to see Getsy get fired because that means that here comes a new offensive system that everybody's got to learn.
Yep.
And Eberflus he can't take over the offense. He's a defensive guy.
Yep.
So, change or I don't know. It's frustrating.
Can I
right.
ask the ghost of the tribe, ghost of Judah
Yes.
tribe? Let me.
Please do.
He's basically saying he basically said that you put Bajan in and you guaranteeing that he's going to run this offense more effectively. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that. You know why? It's because he's got a different skill set than Justin. And even if they put Bajan in right now, it's going to be just a matter of time before they figure out, all we got to do is just, attack and go really fast after him, get some pressure on him, and eventually he's going to be predictable. He's going to try to throw all the short route stuff, and all that stuff going to get jumped, and people going to step in front of it and take the ball away from him too. And so it's not you think Bajan might be the answer. He's probably a better quarterback for the system that they're trying to run. He probably is. I won't argue with you with that. However, you put that guy in there and you think that this dude we about to take off on this miraculous winning streak. You crazy, man.
Man,
how many times have we been down this road where this always happens year after year after year? We always calling for the second string quarterback to come in, and every time he comes in, we get the same freaking results, man. We get the same results. So why do Bears fans want to keep going through this and saying, hey, put the backup in? I think he's good. He played good in the preseason. Every year that we've had a good team, we did that when we had Jay Cutler. We did it with Mitch Trubisky. We were always calling for the second string quarterback to come in. He might come in, have a good game or a good half, and then afterwards it's the same results every time. So let's learn from history to try to stick with what we have. We know that Justin is talented. We've seen him play well. We've seen it. We see what's happening right now. It's a coaching thing. And I hear you, Ghost of Judah, saying that we're making excuses for him, but we're not making excuses for him. And the fact that we see other offenses on other teams executing well with rookie quarterbacks and with second string quarterbacks tells me that they're doing things to complement, or accentuate whatever skills or talents those guys have. And that's why those guys are having success. We're not doing that here, and that's why Justin isn't having success. And when we did do that last year, our offense was successful. We were scoring over 30 points a game for a 5-game stretch. Let's get back to doing some of those things and then start to build on that. That's how you play, build an offense. That's how you develop a quarterback. You have to get him to see some success early on in the game, and get his confidence going, and then build upon that success. And that infuse whatever you want to infuse, you Getsy, but don't take away, what makes him threatening to defenses in running. Like, we've just taken that away now. So defense is probably preparing for that all week long for him to run and for him to move the pocket. And it never happens in the game, and they're just like, oh, thank God, because we just knew that he was going to gash us at least once or twice. And now that threat is just gone. Like, why would we do that? Who does that? That's not smart football. You don't have, and then we got all this speed on the outside. We've got a guy in Scott, Tyler Scott, who we've been talking about all preseason long. Oh, this guy is fast. He can get deep behind the defense. How many times have we seen it this year?
Exactly.
Well, I'm saying this. People keep talking about put Bajan in. Now, look, I want him to be. I want him to succeed too. But based on what you saw in the preseason, they were never schemed.
Nope.
Most of the guys he had success with are now greeters at Walmart. That's what people forget to see and realize. Bajan he might turn out to be a good quarterback, but he's not ready.
No,
and you're talking about put him in and turn Bajan loose. Listen. That's a formula for sheer disaster right now. So,
I don't mean, go ahead. I ain't mean to cut you.
No, go ahead, man. I like I said, his success came against people that are no longer in the league, and you got to remember nobody was scheming against the Bears in the preseason.
No one
there was no scheme. They were running vanilla stuff. Everything was vanilla. So, hey.
Hey man, I don't I'm like the ghost of Judah tribe. I do not want to sound like I'm making excuses for Justin, but there is some nuance to this whole conversation. And I think that's mainly my goal for the show is to make sure people, I don't think people quite get the understand the nucleus of what I'm saying here. The speed of the game. Like Tom Brady he didn't retire because his skills started regressing or he stopped, he retired because the game got too damn fast for him. And he knew eventually he was not going to be able to stand back there in those pockets and just be able to throw the ball all over the field. Eventually, and like his last year, he started getting tackled more than he's used to being tackled. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why he's not playing. I don't care what people are saying. He knows that for his skill set and for a traditional, with the way people think of traditional quarterback play, I'm going to say this one more time. The way people think of traditional quarterback play and the way Luke Getsy is trying to, mold and shape Justin, those days I think are gone. There ain't nobody out there throwing for no 400 yards no more. If you do, you got one hell of a line that I think the Detroit has probably got the best line suited for somebody to be able to throw a 400-yard game. Everybody else, man, it's just not going to happen like that no more. This game is I'm telling you, I will challenge anybody watching this show or listening to us right now or later on to go watch the Cleveland and the Pittsburgh game. Look at how much time those guys had to throw the ball.
None.
You tell me where you find a 4 or 5 second progression in any of that, especially in the first 2 quarters. Those dudes were coming. I mean, they were coming. Deshaun Watson, you will notice this too if you go back and watch the game. While Nick Chubb was in, he was under the center quite often because that's how Nick Chubb functions better in the I formation with a block and a pulling guard or two. That's how he operates. When Nick Chubb left the game and Deshaun Watson was able to mainly be back there in a shotgun and doing RPO, you saw Deshaun Watson start being Deshaun Watson, where he can get the ball out quick and just get rid of the ball, find his targets. I'm telling you, the game is entirely too fast for a traditional mindset. And when you're developing a quarterback, you got to have an athlete nowadays. You got to have an athlete if you want to have a chance. And so I'm just going to say that one more time. You guys are thinking, a lot of people are thinking quarterback in a traditional sense of thinking.
Yeah. And quit comparing Brock Purdy to Tyson Bagent.
I mean, let's think about this, guys. We expected a Division III guy who hasn't faced actual NFL talent to come in and be the savior of this franchise. Does that even make sense? How many times have we ever seen that happen in the league? Not even in for the Bears. We know it's never happened for the Bears, but in the league in general. Brock Purdy came from a Division I school. He didn't come from a Division III school. Okay. Does Tyson Bagent have talent? Yes, he does. Can he throw the ball? Can he operate an offense? Yes. But like Nomad said, he hasn't been schemed against. He hasn't faced any pressure, real NFL pressure. And, he hasn't faced adversity either. So, that can be a doomsday for him. Like, man, stop thinking that Brock Purdy is the answer. That's not the answer. Like, okay, I think
you mean Bagent.
I'm sorry, Tyson Bagent is the answer. Yeah.
Brock Purdy was forced into the starting lineup. He wasn't given that chance. He only came in after the 2 guys in front of him were hurt. He was in a system different than the Bears. They didn't depend on him running out of the pocket, and he's a success story. And I root for the guy because I like to see success stories. Bagent's the same way. I would root for him if it didn't mean Justin would fail, So this is all scheme related. It has nothing to do with Justin Fields' talent. We saw that last year.
Chris, everybody thinks Purdy is this. Everybody looks good in the regular season. Eventually they're gonna catch up with Purdy too. It's not a whole lot of tape out there on Purdy. Not a whole lot of tape. Eventually they're gonna catch up with Purdy and figure out how to get to him. His weakness is he's not a very mobile guy. And I'm telling you, remember I told you this. It's gonna show up later on in the season, get towards the playoffs. His weaknesses will show up. I'm telling you, he's gonna come back and get him.
His strength is that coach, though. His coach is his strength. because his coach knows that, and he knows that I got to get the ball out of his hands quick.
He's got an offensive-minded coach.
And I have to have an offensive line in front of him. I got to make sure I have maximum protection if I'm trying to go downfield. And that's the other thing with Justin. When he's max protected, you see him back there comfortable, and he'll find a guy open. So I want to hear this about, Justin can't read defenses, or he can't run the offense. Like, he needs to feel comfortable back there, man. And the plays that we're running aren't successful, and they're not getting him comfortable in operating the offense, man. That's just how I feel. And that's what I'm seeing. Just making him think too much about, hit this point, make sure this is happening, make sure that is happening. Like, it needs to be simplified for Justin to accentuate his talents, man.
Well, and Hair Bear makes a good point. He said Justin was successful Sunday when he killed the play and got them in a different look based on what the DB showed.
Mm-hmm.
That's an excellent point. He killed the play and changed something that he was comfortable with, and they had success.
And I think they got to allow him to do more of that, Chris. Like, they definitely need to allow him to do more of that. Give him 2 plays before the snap, and then allow him to choose which play he feels is going to be better for him to operate based on what he's seeing pre-snap, and let him roll from there and see what happens. Like, they got to switch it up though. You can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results.
It's insanity.
Hey Sam, when here's the thing. It goes back to when I said at the beginning, that first quarter, that first drive, when he looked like, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Go out there and start dealing that ball, and then it went flat for pretty much a whole two quarters, 3 quarters almost, and we got down to he had to have a long drive to get this so we can win this game, and he went out there when everybody was probably saying, "Oh, we through." And what did he do? He just went down there. He didn't have time to think. Hair Bear, he and I have been talking on Twitter. He didn't have time to think. All he had to do was get up there to the line of scrimmage, move guys around, slide the protection, and see who he thought was the mismatch. And boom, he was hitting. Went down there and scored. And when you see that, that's when you take and you go into a film room and say, okay, what was the best part of the game for Justin? You take those 2 snapshots and you multiply it. Get to some of that. Get some hurry up so when he doesn't have to think, he doesn't have to worry about you calling a play, and he knows what he wants to see at the line of scrimmage. If he don't, he'll call timeout. And so I mean, I think that's what Chris is saying. I think that's what you're saying. You got to take the leash off of him and see what happens when he lives and dies on his own accord. Let him call those shots out there. Give him that autonomy.
What has happened to the running game, though? When I saw Rojo break off, I'm just like you, Sam. I saw that, and I thought, it's just like, soon as he makes a big play, they say, okay, that's enough of that. Yep. Why not, smash the ball into the line a few times? They just gave up on it. They just keep doing it. That's all they talked about. We're going to be a running team. We're going to, what Love used to say, we're going to get off the bus running, and they just won't do it, man. It's frustrating. Man,
they should have hit him with the play action right after that, Chris. That's what should have happened. Yeah. They should have left him in and came right back to it, operated. If that's a play that you want to run back to back, if you want to run something back to back, they wanted to run that screen back to back, to end the game pretty much, but. If you wanted to run anything back to back, you should have left Rojo back there and, ran a play action and rolled out and hit somebody deep right there, because that's how you would play ball. Oh, man. Rashawn Johnson, I think he needs more playing time, man. We need to run that power game with him, because guys don't like tackling him. He is a physical dude. He runs well behind those pads. I mean, those pads be clacking when he's out there.
I didn't think he was going to run out of bounds on that play either. I thought, man, he's going to crack that. I didn't think so either. I thought he's going to crack him, but he ran out of bounds on him.
I don't know why Deontay Foreman wasn't playing for. I got a feeling. You know what? I got a feeling is going on. I think basically your practice dictates how if you going to play on, you're going to be on the 53 that week. That's what's starting to come to fruition for me. The way I see it, I think practice is everything for this coach.
You're not practicing.
And it could be some of that too, but I think mostly it's practice. I think how he practices, whether or not he's executing what they got planned in practice, will dictate if you make the 53. Wouldn't surprise me that if he bounced back and made the 53 this week.
Man, he has to come. They need him in, man, because I'm gonna tell you guys something else. Khalil Herbert cannot pass protect, man. He cannot do it. Like I saw him get. All right, we had a free play. We were backed up in our end zone. They jumped off sides. Khalil Herbert steps right up into this linebacker, and he just whiffs on the play. So they had to blow it dead to stop Justin from getting killed. But that was a free play. You know, we could have gotten the ball down the field. I think Justin recognized that it was a free play, but he didn't have time to operate because Khalil Herbert whiffs on the block, an easy block to make. He squared right there in front of the guy, and he just whiffs on him and lets him go. And I'm thinking that he was maybe, going to turn it around and maybe it was another screen. No, he just missed the block, man. Like that stuff drives me crazy, and especially in critical moments of the game like that. I know Aaron Rodgers operated that all the time. When he had those free plays, he would kill us. He would gash you. He'd make you pay for stuff like that. And that's where I want to see us get to, man.
You know what, Sam? Oh, go ahead, man. I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought you was done.
No, that was it. Go ahead.
I think the bottom line and the reason for doing the show and the title of the show is Flus asked us on ESPN 1000. He said, we need you guys to get behind us, man. It ain't everything you guys wanted it to be in the beginning of a season. But if you're going to be a fan, be a fan. I think we still got people talking about, oh, we didn't sign this person or we didn't draft that person. We should have got this coach, that coach. Man, knock all that nonsense off, all that revisionist history stuff. Knock it off. The man is saying, hey, man, we working here. We trying to get this thing put together and give you guys a product that you're looking for. But we need you guys' support. We don't need guys to be fair weather fans and, every time something doesn't go right, everybody follows the herd on Twitter and, oh, we need to fire the whole front office. We need to fire the whole front office and coaching staff. What is that? What is the point of that? I mean, what do you think you're accomplishing by jumping out there with those dude, you have to calm down and let these guys put together this meal for you. You ask them to cook it. They're going to cook it. And it looked a lot better than it did last week. And I'll tell you that. And it's a lot more reasons for me to be optimistic off of some of the things that I saw this Sunday versus the week before. So I'll just say that.
Yeah, going over to the defensive side of the ball now, Flus called a good game, man. He dialed up pressures when he needed to. We got a lot of pressure in that game, but we just, for some reason, couldn't get this dude down, man. And it was driving me crazy out there to witness it. But we did get a lot of pressure on the quarterback this week, man. And I like seeing that. We made a few errors, man, in that game when tackling and just boneheaded plays that killed us, man. I remember, so I literally said, like, we're due for a turnover, guys. I'm like, come on, make it happen. And that same play, this is when they're coming out to play. We punched the ball out, and the ball is just bouncing, and everybody's around it. I'm just knowing we're about to get this turnover. Man, nobody picks up the ball. Like, those are missed opportunities that we have to have, man. I think that if Stevenson would have turned around on that play to Evans, man, when Evans pushed off, if he had turned around, if Evans hadn't pushed off, if he had turned around, he was going to intercept that ball, man. He was right there on his hip.
Yeah, I remember that.
But Evans, that was a blatant push off. It happened right in front of me, Nomad. It was a blatant push off, extended arms and all, man. That was just a bad misplay call. The Bears, we never get calls for some reason, but it is what it is. I'm not going to harp on that. I mean, we got to continue to play the game. And the disappointing thing about that was we had what was it, Johnson? He's right there in the play. He's pointing to the refs like he pushed off, thinking that a flag was going to be thrown instead of just going down and chasing the man and getting him down, getting Mike Evans down to the ground right there. That teed me off a little bit, but it is what it is, man. Like I said, there were just a lot of missed opportunities on defense, but I liked Flus calling the defense a lot better. And then we lose both of our safeties, in probably a quarter and a half. for the entire first half of the game. Almost both of our safeties were out of the game, and we have two backup guys in who pretty much kind of held their own. Man, if I'm impressed with anything, if I'm impressed by any group on our team, man, it's our secondary. Even though they haven't played great, but they haven't had a lot of support. And this week, I think was the first week our defensive line played tough, man, and they showed a lot of passion out there. I think they just burned out a little bit towards the end of the game. I think next week is going to be a lot better because they did do a lot of good things, man, this past week. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do this week, how they rebound. They can build on what they've done this week in Tampa.
I've never seen a more obvious push off and no call.
That was against Stevenson, wasn't it?
No,
that was Stevenson.
No, yeah. I think that was Jalen. Oh, that might have been.
No, it was Stevenson. It was Stevenson.
Yeah,
it was Stevenson.
Okay.
There was going to be an interception. Stevenson was right there. If he was just about to turn his head, and he was getting there, and he throws his hands up, and he sees Stevenson closing on him, and he pushes him.
Oh, he pushed him.
Extends his arms.
Yeah.
And he's just like, whoa. And then he goes up and snatches the ball out.
It's like, man, you ain't going to call that? Come on, man.
That was one they missed.
Man, look,
that was definitely one they missed.
Hey, before I get to this next comment, man, if you want to tell YouTube how much you enjoy this content, what you tell them is to hit the like button. And after that, make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Even Ghost to Judah. Man, hey, man, I love you anyway, man. I know you're a bad school. We all love each other. You got a difference of opinion right now, and I respect it. But don't forget to show some solidarity, man, because we all family around here, man. Even when we don't agree, man, I love you guys anyway. And so make sure you tell YouTube you like the content so we can keep doing it. Hit the like, share, subscribe, man. But there was you could tell, I don't know if you noticed during the game, Sam, when the two safeties went out. Before they went out, the blitz packages was coming, man. They was bringing heat. There's pressure. But
thank you, Flus.
As I was telling people, man, you can't. When you down to your second and third safeties, man, you ain't gonna be so prone to want to call all them blitz packages, man, because you need to be shored up behind you to make sure that when you call in, they can cover behind you. So I noticed that the pressure stopped kind of coming until Jaquan Brisker got back on the field. Did you notice that?
Absolutely, he had to go away from it, man, because you got two young safeties back there, and they were coaching those guys up from the sideline, man. It was so crazy to see the safeties coach screaming out to them every play. He was running out there, screaming out, telling them what to do on every play. So especially Johnson, Quindale Johnson, because, he's only been on the team for 2 weeks now. So he doesn't know everything to do. So he's out there coaching him up after every play call, he's screaming to him his assignments on every play. So, it was a tough situation to be in. I'm not sure what Eddie's status is, man. It didn't look good.
I was just going to ask you, have we heard any updates on? I think the other safety, I think that was just all the heat, because they said he was out with a sickness. Yeah, so he was severely dehydrated. But I'm worried about that foot and Eddie.
Yeah, and I think it's the same foot, if I'm not mistaken. It's the same foot. We know he had the plantar fasciitis issue. I think Matt Eberflus came on yesterday and said it looks positive, like it's not a bad injury, but I don't put too much trust where he says. He said week to week ends up being a month, or day to day ends up being a month. So as far as the injury goes, I don't know what's coming with Eddie. I do like Quindale Johnson a lot, man. I thought he played pretty decent for him to be, with the team for 2 weeks. And I think he's a good replacement for Eddie. I think that guy, he's a lot more physical than Eddie. They're about the same size, but he comes down, he'll come and hit you in the mouth. And he also plays the ball well. I think it's just about, learning to operate in our system, but he also plays with discipline that I don't think that Eddie has, man. Eddie gets, he makes a bad play. He thinks he can make up for it with a good play. If he goes out and gets an interception and he puts himself in trouble and puts our entire defense in trouble, which is kind of selfish to me, man, the way that he does that. And I would rather have a safety that's just going to play within the scheme. I want all the players to just play within the scheme and trust the scheme. And if that doesn't work, then we can start, getting on the coaches. But yeah, I hear you, Ghost, man. Eddie is not a favorite of mine right now, but
Eddie cursed himself with his preseason prediction.
Yep.
That's what he did. talking about
yeah.
his all-time great safety season. Just hush and play. Show it up. Don't talk about it.
And when you say stuff like that, though, you got to come out and you got to show it. And that's why you out there taking these chances. That's why you out there taking these chances. Let it come to you, man. He's not allowing the plays to come to him. He's going out there trying to force something to happen. And, you know, he's putting in the defense in a bad situation.
I think that's Eddie. It's either eat or go hungry with him, man. It's either eat or go hungry. You're going to be full or you're going to be starving with Eddie. But that's Eddie being Eddie. You don't want to never stop him from being the instinctual player that he is. But the fact is, you know, a couple of times so far, it's done cost us. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's kind of what's sticking out to everybody and why everybody's a little down on Eddie Jackson. That we definitely need to draft a safety.
Yeah. I think you just got to pick your times when you're going to do that too. You know, man, like he's a veteran now, man. You got to be smarter than that. You got to know which downs and at what points to do that. Like the play for the touchdown, you didn't have to try to peel back. Play your assignment. Don't try to peel back and go do something special. Play your assignment and trust that the other guys around you are going to play their assignment so that we can just stop this touchdown as opposed to, you know, going out and trying to make a play and then giving up a touchdown. Like stuff like that drives me crazy. Like, but I think Eddie can rebound from that. I think he just, you know, he can be coached out of that. He can be coached out of that. We've seen him be coached out of that. So I thought he was going to be fine. But I hate to see him go down because I like him and Brisker together. I think they're a good tandem. But hey, next man up now. So we'll see what happens this week.
Hold on, Samuel. Joseph Matuzak was saying something to you. He said, "See, Samuel, that's what I'm saying about cover 2. If you try to do something outside of your keys, you open the door for. Hey, that's you know what? You know what, Joseph? Samuel, hold on 1 second. That's one of the more poignant points I've seen somebody make on here in regards to the cover 2. Everybody has to be on the string in that defense. In a base cover 2 concept, everybody has to be on the string. If one guy blows even in his alignment, if he's out of space at a particular point in the play, you can blow the whole defense. And so he's dead right, man. Eddie Jackson he's a risk taker in a defense that's not kind of built on being that. So you know, I don't know how Flus and them come to terms with that, but he loves Eddie Jackson for some reason because he takes the ball away, and I think that overrides his thought process when it comes to Eddie Jackson.
James Hunter said it right there, man. Cover 2 is a disciplined defense. You have to have discipline in this defense, man. Even the defensive linemen have to have discipline to stay within your gap, man. Hit your gap and stay in your gap. Don't overshoot your gap and not overshoot your gap. And allow the run game to go behind you. So there's so much that has to happen for this defense to execute soundly. And I think Flus was getting a little better production out of these guys this week, probably because he coached them up this week. You know, he knows exactly what this defense needs to do to execute and for this defense to be successful. And, you know, we got a lot more production out of guys. And I was surprised to see Big Billings, man. Big Billings got a couple pressures in this game. Like, that dude played his butt off, man, in this game. I thought he played
player on defense, I think, by far.
Yeah.
By a long shot. If I'm going to give somebody a sucker, I'll tell him, Chris, this, you know, behind the scenes, man, if I can give somebody a sucker for the way they've been playing these last 2 games, it's definitely Andrew Billings, man. You talking about the consistency, man. When he's gonna bring it every play, man. You're gonna get everything he's got. He's got a lot. And so man, I mean, like I tell you guys right now, man, I see the problems in the defense. And I told Chris this again. I said the problem ain't the amount of talent to me. The problem is they haven't had enough time together. And so they're not kind of feeding off of each other. When you have enough time together, not only do you understand what the next person is doing in front, or the person in front of you, next to you, and the person behind you, you start getting confidence in them, and you start to feed. You all start feeding off of each other, and that I don't see that confidence in each other just yet. And I mainly see that in the linebacking core. Those guys are way better than they've been looking so far. It just takes a certain amount of time, a certain amount of snaps together so they can feed off of each other, man. So that's glaring to me.
Speaking of snaps, man, you guys noticed Noah Sewell only had 3 snaps.
He hasn't played a lot.
He hasn't played.
They played Sanborn a lot in this game, and he made some plays out there. He made some plays out there, but yeah, the linebackers just haven't been anything special yet this season. Like, I don't know if they're still learning the system and learning how to operate in the system, but like you said, no man, everyone is. I think that entire defensive line. I think we have some talent on that defensive line. We have one dog, but we're looking for another. We need another dog to just emerge right now. And you know, Walker looked good this week. You know, he was out there, he was giving it his all. And we see Billings is becoming a dog. Like, we need all those guys to become dogs. Oh, and our rookie, both of our rookies played well, I thought, this week. Like,
Sam, that's my only problem right now. My only problem right now is I start seeing some bad body language in Tyreek Stevenson. I start seeing some bad. Yeah.
I mean, he needs a good vet, man. I don't know if what's his name. I don't know if Johnson is a good vet for him, man. He needs a good vet around him. Like, he needs somebody, you know, put their arm around him and tell him, you know what's up, and to move on from those bad plays. And I thought that they should have moved Johnson over on Evans a little bit more in this game. They should have switched him in and out to see what the better matchup was, because he was getting picked on. He's getting picked on, but he should be used to it. It's gonna happen a lot more this season. But you put that seasoned vet out there put him out there with Evans, who's just, you know, this dude's seen it all and been through it all. He knows how to get away with those push-offs and all that good stuff. So, you know, switch it up some, man, and allow Johnson to play on that side sometimes and play on Evans sometimes, man, and, you know, give him a break. That's what I thought should have happened. It didn't. But towards the end of the game, I thought he was all right, man. He did as much as he could. I think he's taking his lumps right now. We saw the same thing last year,
like we said.
And then towards the middle of the season, they were balling again. So,
like we said he would. It's like when you playing. I know y'all get tired of me saying this, but it's always somebody new watching the show. So I'll say it again. I played corner, played both slot and outside boundary, and it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to learn about route concepts and all the stuff that's coming at you. Everything's new to you. You're used to playing so aggressively in the style of defense they played in Miami, and he's a real physical guy. He jumps, and when he shouldn't jump, and tries to attack the ball when you ought to be sticking to your keys and your assignment. You're not good enough to be trying to jump and take balls away at this point, man. Sometime middle of the season, then you feel real comfortable with everything being thrown at you, then you start getting aggressive. But right now he's trying to be a veteran, and he's a rookie, and he's got to take his lumps. And they know he's a rookie out there trying to be a little too aggressive, and they're going to double move his behind, try to get behind him in zone so he can. I mean, it's all kinds of things that's going to happen to him this year. But eventually he will overcome it all. I just don't want his body language and confidence to get down. I don't think he's going to have a problem in that area, but I start seeing signs of struggle somewhere during that game last week. I was just looking at his shoulders, man, and he had slumped shoulders, and I'm just like, oh no, you got to straighten that out, bro.
I've seen it right in front of me a couple times too. He's dealing with something, man. But it was hot out there as well, so I don't know if that had to do with it.
I forgot about
too.
that.
So, like, I mean, it was a lot to deal with. You're getting beat up on, man. Plus, you know, you have to contend with that heat. But he's from Miami, so he should be
right. I was gonna say that he's from Miami. He ought to know that.
Yeah, he should be used to it if anybody is. But yeah, man.
How you guys feeling about our center?
That's a problem. That's our problem on offense. Our center and that left guard right now.
Man,
I thought
White had been getting his lunch eaten, man.
Yeah, I told y'all I didn't want Whitehair at the beginning of the year. Y'all told me I was crazy because I said I thought Whitehair and Lucas Patrick needed to go. And we talked me into Whitehair at center. And then he didn't get a chance to play center.
Want some irony? Yeah. Let's hear some irony.
Whitehair's days are done.
Let's hear some irony. John Harbaugh praised the play of Sam Mustard this week.
Yes. I saw
good
that.
Coaching does wonders to a player.
Chris saw firecrackers again.
Good
I
coaching
said
does
it was
wonders for a
ironic.
player.
There was some irony.
It was, especially this week at that. So because our center didn't play well this week, and I think that's where Justin struggles with, man. That pressure from the middle. I think he can escape pressure from the edges, but that pressure up the middle, I think it's hard for him not to look down at that when it's coming up in his face. And I think he takes his eyes off of the field, off of his receivers when that pressure is coming up in his face. Because you can't tell me he's looking at the field the entire time when his head is forward, because there are guys standing right there in the middle, open, clapping their hands. So I'm thinking he's looking at the rush coming towards him to see if he needs to escape before he pulls his eyes back up. And by the time he puts his eyes back up, guys have moved, and he's trying to, look at what he's seeing again. He sees a guy open, and now I got to make sure there's no linebacker underneath or anyone who could threaten if I make this throw. So, I think that's what's happening for him. And because you see it when he pulls in that protection and he has that 6 and 7 man protection, he's always fine. Like, he can execute better out of those situations because he's comfortable in, those guys are going to block, they're going to protect me. So I know I can keep my eyes downfield. Other thing that killed me with Justin Fields is that I noticed is when he escapes the pocket, he doesn't look down the field, man. He's not looking down the field to make another pass. He's trying to look for running lanes, because there were guys open sometimes when he escaped the pocket, and he just like, nope, I'm not going to do it. A couple times when he did. And he only escaped the pocket maybe twice the entire game. So it's kind of crazy.
Being in escape mode all the time has got to depress his development, man. I mean, he has been in escape mode for basically his whole career.
Entire career.
And that just retards his development. I mean, and looking down the field, that's part of it. So
I gotta address this, Patrick. Y'all said I'm like Cornelius, man. Cornelius says he thinks Patrick played a pretty good game. He did, man. Patrick has been he looked good in the pass pro. And that's what we need him to really, really excel at, is in the passing game. Sometimes I've seen, especially in the first game, I don't know if I've seen it as much the second game. He struggled in runs, trying to block it up on the runs. He struggled a little bit. He's getting a little bit out of place, not hitting his target, and kind of getting in the way a little bit, when the running back is trying to get through the hole. But I didn't think Patrick was bad at all, bro. I didn't think he was bad at all.
Actually, I didn't either. I didn't think he. I think he played. I didn't think he played bad last week either.
Last week he had a pretty good game. He had a really good game last week in pass pro. But this week it was Cody Whitehair, man. Cody Whitehair was getting beat up. I don't know if he was dealing with an injury or something.
I'm not sure how much Cody loves the game anymore.
Cody just out there. I think center would have been the best role for him under the circumstances. I think, I'm not saying that Patrick hasn't been good. I'm just saying if Cody Whitehair is going to stink it up like that, man, I'm just going to hope and pray this guy picks it up in this next game and starts executing a whole lot better, man. But he was playing a whole lot of a big old, what's his name? What's his big old number 50? That dude gonna wear you out, man. That dude,
Vita.
He had to see him a whole lot of times, man. Ain't nobody trying to see that, man. Ain't nobody trying to deal with that. So he ain't gonna see a Vita Vea every Sunday, man. So hopefully this week he'll be a whole lot better. He's gonna see another monster, but he ain't gonna be as big as Vita Vea.
Yeah, I'm about to say Chris Jones, they gonna take it easy on him now. And Chris Jones watching that tape this week and licking his chops like, yeah, I'm gonna line up over that dude right there. I want him.
You'll see what kind of shape he in when he get out there. He ain't did nothing all off season, man. So football shape is different than any kind of shape you can be in, man. You know that.
Yeah, I absolutely know it. But if the Chiefs are smart, it's gonna be third down situations. I'm gonna put them out there. We're gonna be in some third and long situations, and that's when you put him out there, send him out there, and let him go eat. We got to be able to do better at helping guys when they're struggling, though, man. I don't see a lot of that happening. Like, you go to the sideline and you just got beat up on 2 out of 3 plays. The coach should see that on their little tablet and say, hey, you struggling over here. We're going to have to help you out. You guys, I want you to go chip and help him out. before you go over and execute whatever block you were going to go execute. Like in the running game, it's just all mixed up right now. I don't know who's blocking who. I think guys are confused. I think that's another continuity issue because guys are confused about who they should be blocking on. And you see guys running to the same man or turning their backs or pushing each other down the field. It just looks weird, man, in the running game. So except for when you go to power, when guys are just going forward and trying to push guys off the ball. And that's why I think we should stick to that, especially when Roshan's in the game, because it's been effective. And I think the offensive linemen like that a lot better because they get to just bully guys and push them off the ball. So I think we need to stick with that, man. And it's also going to wear defenses out. Defenses get tired of you keep hammering them with that run.
Mm-hmm. I think we do need to, and I don't think Chris Morgan deserves like a bouquet of roses. I'm giving him a flower because I think that the job he's done with Jatari Carter is incredible, man. I think Jatari Carter, the way they brought him along and the way he looked out there, he might have gave up a couple of pressures. But for the most part, man, he matched up well against Vita Vea and whoever else they put in front of him. He was able to maintain out there on a level that, I think we have another starting guard, sitting there waiting in the wings for his opportunity because Nate Davis gonna be right back there Sunday. When Tevin gets back, he's gonna be right back in his spot. But we know now that we got a swing guard. We got a swing guard at least. And so I feel really good about that. So Chris Morgan does deserve his flower, at least a flower for that, man. Those protection packages, man, he's leaking, man. I think they got to get more 12 and 13 personnel out there, get some double tight end, triple tight end, and get those running backs knowing their assignment like you're talking about, so that when they're sending, these exotic blitz packages, he's not confused about who he's supposed to block. If a guy comes off streaming from the left when we got one tight end on one side and two on the other, just know you're going to have to probably pick up somebody coming off the left. It's probably that simple. You know what I mean? Yep. So I think they need to run a lot more of that, a lot more play action, get that ball booted out of the pocket, get this guy comfortable again, man. Let him be Justin, man, and get him in some hurry up. Once he's got the defense on their heels, don't let them get the subs in, just start rolling on them. And I think you're going to see a different Justin Fields.
Yeah.
I think Jatari, man, with time, I agree. He can really.
I will give that man his flowers.
You going to give him the bouquet or the rose?
He can get the bouquet, man. Those guys are playing with. They're rookies. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, can.
I think my system was tripping for a second.
You froze for a minute, but you good.
All right. I'm hardwired. I don't know what's up with that. But yeah, no, I think our offensive line is not as bad as people think, man. They executing, especially in protection. Like no offensive line is supposed to be able to protect for 7 seconds, man. Come on now. You give that guy 4 or 5 seconds, then you did your job. And I think they've done that consistently, man. And they've been just those 5 guys alone. I think we saw a lot more Mercedes Lewis this week. And Mercedes comes in and he's bullying guys. I think I saw that a few times. He's knocking guys to the ground. So I think he needs to play more. I see Cornelius Squalls just mentioned it as well. Yeah, Robert Tonyan is not a blocking tight end. I don't think that's what we brought him here for. And we need to stop asking guys to do things that they're not good at. It's just that simple to me, man. Let guys play the way that they play, man, and accentuate their talents, man, and use their skills. Don't ask guys to do things that they're just not good at, man. It's just that simple to me. Like, man, let's just do what we're good at. Let me do what I'm good at, and then I'll have success at that. And everyone else on the team does the same thing, then we'll be good. Let that man run the seam and get open. Let Mercedes Lewis come in there and do the dirty work. And he enjoys that, man. You could tell he enjoys it. At 40 years old, the dude old as me, older than me, probably older than me. And he's out there balling, man. And he had the guys in a little circle for a while too, man. I saw him trying to motivate those guys in the offense. So Like, I think he's a good leader. I think he's the right person for this team at this point in time. And maybe, that could help this offense because he knows Luke Getsy from before. Maybe he'll go to Luke and, be like, Luke, like maybe we need to do this or maybe we need to do that because, what we're doing is not working. Maybe he's comfortable in going to Luke because of that relationship that he had with him before and, him being an older man.
So, go ahead, Chris.
I was going to say I'm much more comfortable with the offensive line and defensive line. I think that their struggles right now is just chemistry and communication, and that only comes with repetition. So I think and we're going to have like you said, Davis will be back this week, so Carter will be out, and you won't have the same consistency. It's going to take some time, but I expect that offensive line to gel, pretty quick. And then Tavin will be back, and then you'll have some more gelling to do. But I'm more comfortable with the O line than I am with the defensive line at the moment.
I'll tell you this: it's not like the offensive line was horrible. The offensive line was not horrible. And as a matter of fact, there were times, quite often, that line produced a nice pocket back there.
Yeah, Justin's got to step up.
He just wouldn't fling that thing, man. He just
wouldn't let it go.
He's got something in his head, some kind of, something is in his head where he's concentrating on time and his feet and all that stuff they got him concentrating on in the off season. He's got that stuff going on, and he's just not delivering that ball. He's not. I seen him a couple of times pump like he was about to let it go, and then he just tuck it and start trying to get away, man. It's like, looking at it on the on replay, there were guys wide open. There's something going on with, just that's why I think Getsy is he's either one of the two things going to happen. Either Getsy's going to adjust and just solely go with what Justin really, really feels comfortable at doing, or he's going to end up getting fired soon. One of the two is going to happen. I think and this is why we did the show tonight, is he's asking for support. The team is asking for our support. And who are we to, if we're going to be fans, be a real fan and give them your support? Okay, I was calling for Getsy's head Sunday, but I'm going to back off. And I'm going to give him, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to give him time to see if he can adjust and see if he can put together the right kind of script to make this guy be really effective. If he does that and Justin still underperforms, then we're talking about a whole other conversation. But I think as fans, I think we just definitely need to just pump your brakes and fall back a little bit. Give these guys time. It's only game 2, man. Of course, it's not looking as good as you want it to look, but give them time to put it together, man. And so I'm just going to hold out hope to say that Getsy can come up with the right answer for his sake and Justin's sake.
I know that he can because we've seen him do it, man. We've seen it in the game. We saw it in the game. That first, like you say, that first drive is a script of plays that you've already written up. Justin knew exactly which plays we were going to call in sequence at the beginning of the game, and he executed that flawlessly. I mean, that's the type of stuff we need to continue to do during the game, Luke. We don't need to be going and trying to, execute this screen game, this Aaron Rodgers-esque offense, man. Develop your offense around your quarterback, who is Justin Fields, man. That's where he's comfortable. Make him comfortable and allow him to be himself and not what you want him to be. That's what we need from Luke Getsy. I know that you can do it because we've seen you do it. We know that Justin can play, guys. We know that he can get rid of the ball quickly because we just saw him do it this last game on 2 touchdown drives, not 1, 2. No, that's the type of offense he needs to be executing. We need to get him under center more. Allow him to use the running game to set up the passing game. Like, that's what we need to be doing, man. And not whatever Luke Getsy has in his mind and what he wants to be executing. That's going to be your way out the door. If you stick with that, let your ego go, ball up the paper, start over again, and let's get this thing rolling.
Rod Davis is saying something to me here. Let me put that up. He said, "Yo, Nomad, isn't that what the offensive coordinator supposed to be adjusting to what the quarterback is. Yeah, man. Yes, that's exactly what he's supposed to be doing. And we've been saying that throughout the show, man. And that's the frustrating part about it
because he hasn't.
Right. Is the fact that he hasn't adjusted to it, and he's constantly trying to turn him into Aaron Rodgers 2.0. And he's not Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't have a quick cannon on him. He doesn't have that, that quick slingshot release like Aaron Rodgers. And you call all these plays that really, made Aaron Rodgers look really good. He is really good, but he's got a really quick release, and you can't understate that. You keep trying to do all that stuff, trying to turn this guy into Aaron Rodgers, and he's making all of us sick to our stomach. And so I just challenge you guys to look at this part. Go back and look at that game one more time, and look at that last touchdown scoring drive that Justin had, and look at how loose he was out there when he wasn't hearing the coordinator in his ear. This is stuff they working on every day in practice. You keep hearing Flus, oh, we did this low red zone offense to hurry up. We're doing the gold zone off. All that is just a hurry up offense where you don't really have a huddle. You just basically going out there and trusting your quarterback to read the defense and script it up the way he sees it. He sees a mismatch. Mm-hmm. He feels good about where he's going with the ball. He's not thinking, boom, fire. Go back and look at that last scoring drive, and you see Justin. That's the Justin you have to multiply on. You have to multiply that. And so whatever it takes, that means going out there and playing a whole bunch of hurry up and keeping defenses on their heels. Then that's what you do. That's not the script that you have in your mind, Luke Getsy, but that's what this guy is good at doing. He was tearing their butt up. He was tearing their behinds up, man, like it wasn't nothing. So that's what I'm looking for, man. I want to see some more of that. The sugar huddle, get to the line of scrimmage. You got them on their heels. Fire at them.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why I was a little bit skeptical when they hired Getsy in the first place, because when you hire a coordinator or even a passing game coordinator that comes from a program that has a Hall of Fame quarterback, the question you have to ask yourself, is it the coaching or is it the talent? And Aaron Rodgers can make anybody look good. And if you look up the interview with Getsy when he hired, with Flus when he hired Getsy, he said Getsy was his first choice because he watched him and he watched how he coached Aaron Rodgers. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's Aaron Rodgers though. I mean, wouldn't you rather bring somebody in that has took a marginal talent and lifted them up? I mean, maybe somebody from New Orleans or I don't know who exactly, but it's just kind of scary when you bring a guy who's Aaron Rodgers' caddy and you think you're going to get the same results, because when you got Aaron Rodgers, you got a superstar.
Chris, after about year 6 or 7, wasn't no damn body coaching Aaron Rodgers.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
Could do is give him some advice. That dude didn't need no coach.
This is what I'm saying. I mean, who's doing the coaching? He's probably telling Getsy what's going on.
Exactly.
So that I was skeptical from. I was skeptical for one because he was coming from Green Bay, but you know what? I just didn't get the correlation between the success of the passing game and the coaches. The success came from having Aaron Rodgers, who in my mind is the most talented quarterback I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Cornelius said Tim Jenkins made the point that Aaron Rodgers was coaching Getsy. That's probably what it was.
Exactly. And
that is what was going on. And that it shows in what Getsy's trying to do right now.
It shows exactly.
It shows.
And you know what? If you fire Getsy, who do you replace him with? I mean, exactly. Morgan. I mean, the quarterback's coach. Who you going?
That's probably Janoko.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know much about Janoko.
I know nothing about him.
Janoko just gonna go in the room. Hey man, tell me what you want to see, and let's script it up.
He'll be a smart man to do that. Then put Janoko in, then, because that's what we need. We need to go to Justin and say, Justin, what are you comfortable with? How would you like to change this? What's going to make you comfortable?
Most coaches, their egos will not allow them to do that.
I know it. Hey. That's the problem. Chris just bingo, bro. Bingo. Ding, ding, ding. Hey. That's exactly it. They can't get over, like Nagy, man. He just couldn't get over all the crazy exotic stuff he had drawn up on his grease board and he wanted to use all year long. Oh yeah, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. But do you have the right? Do you have the right personnel with the right skill set to pull it off, Matt? No, you don't. Same thing with Luke Gessie. You can't. You're not gonna be able to pull all that stuff off with Justin Fields. You can try, but you're just gonna make yourself look bad and him look bad.
So if I'm Ryan Poles, man, I'm looking at this.
Yeah, Tupac said he'll come in minimum contract.
I heard that.
Copy and paste the Ravens offense. Hey, Joseph, you're hired.
Right. Greg Roman, hey, he figured it out real quick. Ain't no use in me trying to turn Lamar Jackson into what I think he should be. I'm going to turn Lamar Jackson into what the hell Lamar Jackson want to be.
Yeah, I know what he is. I saw how he was successful in college, and that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to build on that. And if I'm Ryan Poles, I'm going to go to Justin Fields, man, this week, and I'm going to have a conversation with him. Say, Justin, come on in here. Man, what's going on? Like, why are you struggling? Are you and Luke getting along? Like, are they listening to you? I want to know this. If I'm the GM and I done bought these groceries and I'm expecting you to be cooking right now, and it's not happening, I'm going to pull you in and we're going to have that conversation. And I'll be the bad guy. I'll go to Flus and to Getsy and, get this thing righted. I'll go and get the ship righted right now because I'm not going to sit back and continue to let Luke Getsy do what he wants to do. And if he's not in agreement with doing what Justin Fields is going to be able to help him, then, hey, Luke, you know what? You can pack your bags up right now if you want to, because, we don't need that. That's not what we need. We didn't bring you here for that. We brought you here to develop Justin. And in order to develop Justin, you have to listen to Justin. You have to do what Justin is good at, not just what you want to do. We didn't call you here for your offense. Like, yeah, we like the offense that you want. We thought that you were going to run, but we thought that you were going to build that around Justin and not, try to fit Justin into what you want to do. That's not what brought you here for. Justin's the star of this team. Justin's the one that we want to keep, not you, Luke. Like, we don't have to have you. It's nice to have you here, but hey, if you're not going to get on board with what Justin wants to do, and if Justin tells me that, he's just not getting what he needs from you, then maybe, Luke, we need to just part ways and allow you to go find a quarterback that you're going to be able to help, and we'll find someone else to help Justin, because right now it's just not working.
Well, and keep in mind, and shout out to T3P Podcast. Good to see you in the shout, man. And but keep in mind, Getsy's firing also means Eberflus's failure too. So he's got a stake in Getsy's success also.
Yeah.
So, for this thing to get turned around, we might have to have some people just say, hey, look, maybe, I got to drop my ego and do something different. So that's up to Ryan Poles to have the conversation with these guys and say, look, success means being adaptable, and they have to show some adaptability right now. So we're going to give Flus all our support because he's in our family, and I've always done that. When I started watching this team, I was 7 years old. They went 1-13. I've seen them, but you know what? I've never flinched once in my support of them. So we're going to support him, but we need some things done differently. So
it's not Luke Getsy is capable, like any other coordinator is in this league. He's capable of saying, you know what, let me put my thoughts and feelings to the side for a minute. Let me focus on how this guy feels and what he feels will be effective. Now we got Kansas City we have to go deal with here Sunday. Okay, this is the defense. These are the challenges, man. Based on the stuff that we have here, is it anything? And they probably got 100-something plays, man, that they want him to run. Give me the circle of stuff that you think is going to work, and let's talk about how that's going to look as opposed to the defense that we're going to face this week. So keeping into that context, it could be, 3 or 4 particular plays that he likes out of RPO, 7 or 8 plays in sitting in play action out of pro formation when he's sitting behind the center doing play action and moving out of the pocket. But you have to honor that. If you want to be a good coordinator and you want to be a great one, you got to be able to honor that. If you really respect the guy that you have, we got a hell of a talent there. It's about trying to get him into a comfort zone so where he's not thinking as much as he's thinking right now.
Mm-hmm. And then there's also the other thing that Tim Jennings was talking about as far as the footwork goes, man, with that left foot, right foot things, which reminds me of left hand, right hand on defensive line. If it's just not natural for you, it takes a while for you to, really be able to understand that. And from the way that Tim Jennings was explaining it, which he did a great job of doing, in my opinion, was that, having your right foot back gets you on your back on that last step of your drop like half a tick of a second or a second earlier than normal. And, the play, your first progression might not be open as soon as you're looking at it. And you have to kind of pause a little bit. And that's why your right foot is supposed to be back so that you get that preview of everything. And maybe Justin just isn't able to do that right now. I think that's what's confusing him a little bit. He's looking and he's waiting for it to open up before he goes to the next progression. And, maybe him getting there early is not what's best for him. So allow him to do what he's comfortable in doing, putting his left foot back, and executing from that formation and seeing, if that's going to, result in something better, because just doing what you want to do as far as the footwork goes and seeing that it's not yielding results just doesn't make sense to me. If this guy's been doing something one way all of his life, then allow him to continue to do it that way and be successful at it. And then, if you want to mix it in sometimes, like maybe you could put your right foot back on this play to see if, this helps you on this play. But for the most part, execute the play the way that you want to execute it, man. Whatever is making you comfortable, that's what we should be doing. Like, I don't know about all this other stuff. Like, I'm not an offensive guru or anything like that, or pretend to be a quarterback guru, but from the way that Tim Jennings explained it, like it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I think overall, man, I think we kind of emptied out the weaponry right here, man. But we're gonna go around this horn one more time. I'm gonna say this before we go around the horn. I think they know in the front office and in the locker room. I think they know this next game is pivotal. People are gonna want to really see some improvement. If they win this game, great. If they lose it by a few points, that'll be good too. But they just want to see what they expect to see. And I think as fans, we have to fall back and play our role. I'm not saying that you guys can't have an opinion, you can't criticize, and I think with social media, I think it goes to another level, way past. I mean, it's just pretty awful, man. And I said that the other day, man. It's awful, man. And if you follow that herd, these hyperbolic people that want to run and jump to a conclusion, we need to do this, we need to do that, and everybody starts following it and liking it, like, yeah, we need to do this. You start actually believing you make a difference on social media. You don't at all, man. You just running your mouth and you just basically, I'm not saying you're making yourself look stupid, but don't actually believe that you have a say-so in this, man. They gotta play this out on the field, man. So, you guys have your opinions, man, but just know your role, man. He's asking us to be supportive of the team. Why can't we just do that? And just, how the results come to us, they come to us. We'll deal with it as it comes. But, man, stop jumping off the bandwagon and, jump into all these different conclusions, man. We really need to stop that and get behind our team, man. That's what the hell we here for, man.
Hey, well, I'm gonna say this, and Sam, I'm gonna let you wrap it up. First of all, thanks to everybody in the chat for supporting us. It's good to see you guys here. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It is utterly important that you become a subscriber. Hit the like, share the content. We're bringing this stuff to you guys. We put work into it. Nomad works around the clock, making sure that this content is up to date and ready and on point. So please hit the subscribe and like and share. I'm going to make a bold prediction for Sunday. You ready?
Well, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that I'm not going to say the Bears are going to win, but I'm going to say we're going to see the best performance from our team this week. Expectations are low. I think the pressure is going to be somewhat off because of that. And I do think there are going to be some changes made. I think the people up top are going to hear and see what we see. I think Ryan Poles is going to demand that some things are done differently. So I think we're going to see the best game, and that maybe is low hanging fruit, but we're going to see the best game from our squad this week. And I'm not going to say we're going to win. That would be a high, pretty lofty expectations. But hey, I'm going to support my squad. I've been doing it for 50 some years. From Jack Concannon to Justin Fields. I know y'all don't know who Jack Concannon is. Look him up. Wikipedia. But I'm going to support him. And hey, look, bear down.
Hey, I'm with you, Chris. I'm not giving up on my team. It's the only team I have. I know a lot of Chicago fans who have other teams just because, the Bears aren't always up to par. So a lot of my friends say, hey, my AFC team is this. This is my AFC team. I can have an AFC team. No, I got one team, and that's the Bears. And I'm ride or die with these guys, man, every year. And every year, it's not a good year. But I'm going to still stick with my dudes, man. And I think you guys should too, man. This week is going to be a rough week. But you know what? Kansas City is not hitting on all cylinders right now. So we can sneak up on those guys, man. If they take us lightly, and like Chris say, we have our best game and put our best foot forward, then, hey, if our hunger and belief and proper preparation meets focus, discipline, and execution, anything is possible this week, man, and on any given Sunday. So let's see what happens. I'm not going to count them out. Hey, and I hope that they get it together. I think that we have the team. We have enough players in place. I think we have the right assembly of coaches. They just have to, let go of their egos and allow these guys to ball out.
So I'm gonna end this like this before we get out of here.
No, man, I see the super back in the chat.
I saw that, Sean, man. You late in Memphis. We've been on here almost an hour.
Sean should have jumped in here, man. What up, Sean?
Hey, I'm gonna holler at you later, Sean, man. I'm gonna get with you. But before we get out of here, I want to say this. And when I heard that statement that Flus made on ESPN 1000, my heart kind of went out to him, man, because I know he's trying his damnedest to get the right formula to get together for this team, get them the right amount of time on task to turn this thing around. I know he's trying to, and all he asked for, he said, man, we need you guys, man. We need you guys behind us. We need you guys to support us. We can't do this with you guys out here booing us. We can't do this with you guys out here on social media talking about let's fire the whole front office and the coaches as well. We can't do it like that. We need you guys. He said we need you guys. And I'm here at the Nomad Network on behalf of all my guys out here saying to you guys in the chat, on behalf of the Nomad Network, we're going to show up. We're going to oblige, man. We're going to support them. We're going to give them everything we can give them from our point of view, man. So I'm not going to be one of those fans that's, trying to look for a flaw and trying to find fault in everything, man. I'm going to support my guys because that's all we got. At the end of the day, they all we got, bro. They all we got. Ain't no second Chicago football team. The Bears is what we have, man. So take that or leave it, man. Be a fan like you're supposed to be, man. Support your team, man. And before we get out of here, I just want to leave y'all with this, man. With everything I got in me, man. Love, peace, and hair grease, y'all.
Bear down, folks.
Bear down, baby.